Okay, glad to be back. Hadn't been on here in a while again. Been busy, but I could have come on here, but I just didn't take the time. There's been a lot of news going on. And again, this is Fraley's World Insight Vlogs for a Sunday night at, see what time is it exactly? 10:03, no, 10:43 p.m. 5/26/2019. Doing a little late version of the show, or late, whatever you want to call it, rendition of this show. And there's been a lot going on. I'm going to start off with a little bit of old commentary, vlog, whatever you want to call it, about the happenings in Europe, especially right now, mainly in Great Britain and Scotland and United Kingdom, that area. Well, Theresa May, the Prime Minister there, wanted to. She told her people that, and they even had an election on this, by the way, Brexit, a while back, and all the people voted to get out of the European Union. And Theresa May more or less guaranteed them and promised them that she would get out of it. And then she turned her back on them and lied about it and didn't get out of the European Union. It was something to do with politics, and she had the power. She wanted to stay in power, but she wanted to do things her own way instead of what the people wanted, which was to get out of the European Union. And she lied to them. And you don't lie to your people. If you lie to your people, you're going to get bad consequences. So, under great stress and political pressure from people and many politicians on the political front, mainly from the a new political party called the Brexit Party. Now, a person by the name of Nigel Farage, which you've all heard of that, he was in power at one time himself, and he's very popular in Great Britain, United Kingdom, and England. That area of the world, the islands, of course you know what I'm talking about. Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Well, he promised them, because of what happened mainly, now just listen, it's slow, I know, it's developing here, because she turned her back, because Theresa May turned her back and didn't keep her promise to get out. The people voted for Brexit and wanted to get out of that, and she wouldn't do it. So under political pressure, she had to resign. So a new election has been held, and guess who wins? Well, first of all, before I tell you that, the Brexit Party, which Nigel Farage and his political people invented, was called the Brexit Party. They invented that. That was a new party. Then there was the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, and then the Change UK Party. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the results of the election. You know, Nigel Farage, he was once in power there, and so he runs for the Prime Minister in the election with the promise to, well, it's the Brexit Party. You know what's going to say, what it is. He's going to get out of that party he promised the people. Well, people, I want to show you something. He dominated. Take a look at scene 2, I believe. Here it is, the Brexit Party. They won 4 seats, and with a +4. The Liberal Democratic Party got only 3 seats, and with a +2. The Green Party, 1 seat, 0, 0, no factor there. Conservative Party, 1 seat, -2. Labour Party, 1, 0. And the Change UK, 0 and 0. Let's see. Anyway, here's some comments from Nigel Farage after this big win. And let's make sure we can hear this. Turn this off over here. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Wrong thing there.
So I think we'll now hear from Nigel Farage.
Mr. Returning Officer, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Never before in British politics has a new party launched just 6 weeks ago topped the polls in a national election. The reason, of course, is very obvious. We voted to leave in a referendum. We were supposed to do so on March the 29th, and we haven't. There's a huge message here, massive message here. The Labour and Conservative parties could learn a big lesson from tonight, though I don't suppose that they actually will. The new date is the 31st of October. We in the Brexit Party have got men and women of considerable business experience. We want to be part of that negotiating team. We want to take responsibility for what's happening, and we're ready to do so. I hope the government is listening. I have to say this: if we don't leave on October the 31st, then the scores you've seen for the Brexit Party today will be repeated in a general election, and we are getting ready for it. Thank you.
Well, there's a warning from Nigel Farage. I think it's fair to say that if that Brexit doesn't happen in October, when the latest deadline is set,
and there's a lot going on in that area of the world. The Brexit Party also, as you know, is a populist party, and or you should know, and Nigel Farage is a populist. He leans toward a populist point of view, always has. He's been on a lot of news shows, especially Fox News, if you've ever watched Fox News. But in London, I believe it's the name of the network's called the London. It's LBC, I believe, is the name of the network he's on there. LBC, London. Anyway, I believe it's LBC. The name of it's a radio program, but he's also on YouTube, and it's made like a TV program. He's actually on the radio, and it's a call-in kind of show, and he interviews people, and he gives his public opinion about political matters and what's happening to his country in that area of the world. And he's really good. He's a great speaker, and you might even want him as a leader over here in America, because he speaks the plain and common sense truth, and the people really like that. That's why he's so popular among his people over there, and he gets a lot of support and a lot of listeners. And I really like him. Again, I'd like to see, I wish that he was sort of a leader over here in America. I wish we had somebody like him over here, a lot like Trump. I guess that's why he's a big supporter of Trump, because they think a lot alike, common sense and what's best for their country, instead of somebody else coming in and invading their country, you know, because they have some of the same problems we have over here. They're very similar. Europe, as a matter of fact, has a lot of the same problems that we have over here in America. You see, what's going on is there is a great migration happening, and there are reasons why it's happening. Only we have to suffer because of it. That's just the way it is. And again, and I've harked this many times, I shouldn't have to, or I've barked it many times, I shouldn't have to say it over and over and over. Anybody that's heard me knows what I'm talking about. Great immigration or migration. Well, I call it migration because I think that's what's happening. There's a great migrations going on throughout the world because of corrupt countries, because of people starving and people wanting a better way of life, and they think they think they can make it better by going somewhere else and bumming off somebody else and actually destroying their countries. And that's what's happening. And people in those countries that are being invaded, they're so, what's the word, compassionate, and they want to help people without having any common sense. I mean, you don't invite a load of people come into your own family and sponge and bum off you and not going out and getting jobs and working. Instead, they bum off you, expecting you to give them handouts all the time. Well, these people get used to it, and then they don't become independent. They just keep doing the same thing over and over, causing more and more poverty within our country or the countries even in Europe. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about and what's happening in the world. And really, but first I'm going to go into something else. Because of all this migration and other problems and people not having any common sense, the Populist Party is really flourishing and is growing throughout the world, and especially in Europe, much like the U.S., only they have more severe problems than we do because they've allowed migration to more or less take over their nations, and it's really hurting them right now. And that's why, more or less, why these populists have gotten so popular amongst the people in Europe and the U.S., and it's starting to get into other countries too, including South America, and Mexico's even beginning to see the light too. They're beginning to see things the same way. They're beginning to. Brazil is a nation that has a leader, and I forget his name. I saw it here on the news here a while back. I guess I should have jotted it down and wrote about it. But much like Trump, the leader of Brazil sees things much like Trump as far as immigration and other problems, because they're having that problem too. And you know what I'm talking about, Venezuela and some other countries, people coming into their country, they're having a migration problem too. I'm going to get into a little bit of all that, but let me get this map situated over here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me get the right map on here. Yeah, this is one of them. This is mainly where it starts. Of course, it starts in other areas too, but I'm gonna, if I can get this. Here it is. Just a second. There it is. Let me get over here to scene 2. Alright. This is a map of Africa, mostly, as you can see, northern Africa. But there's a lot of migration going on here. A lot of these people, as you can see here, you get the arrows are pointing up. Where are these people going? They're going to, all these arrows pointing up, they're going to Spain and Tanzania, Malta, other areas, mainly into Europe. And as you can see, there's a lot of different countries here going. And I wrote down some of the main ones. In Africa, mainly in Senegal. And I'm not sure exactly where Senegal is up here. May not be on, here it is. Senegal, right here. where this little black mark is. I just had to take a minute to find it. Sierra Leone. Where is Sierra Leone? Okay, it's down here toward the southeastern Africa. They're also going to migrating, meeting up in Niger and heading north. Mainly these people here, all these countries, Nigeria, the Congo, they're mainly the ones that have money that are pretty rich. Or let's start with the poor. The poor people of these countries are mainly heading north. They're heading to Europe because they don't have that much money, and they know the Europeans will accept them and take them in. Of course, that's beginning to change now a little bit as people are wising up because of the populist movement, and they can see that this migration's affecting their country. They've got all these poor people coming in and expecting handouts and assistance, and if you overdo something, if you create an overflow and too many people coming into your country, it's going to make you a less fortunate country. It's going to make you a more poorer country because you got more poor people coming in, and you somehow you got to deal with these people, help them, and money wise, job wise, housing wise, everything. I mean, it's just a big flat out mess, and Europe's suffering right now because of it. Now let's talk about the rich people from these areas. The rich people from these areas, they're headed, guess where? To South America. Of course. Let's see if I can get a... Yeah, here it is. Once they take a plane, all these rich, so-called rich, I mean rich for them, not so much for us, because when they get over here, they're going to be poor because they had to give all their dang money so they could come over here. There's a lot of people over there that couldn't come over here. Well, they come down in here to Panama, Managua, Tichicapala, but also over here in South America as well. And a lot of these areas, again, this is Central America. Well, they come down here into these areas. They meet up with other peoples, and they have sponsors. They have political parties that actually sponsor them, called the PRIA and the Marina parties. And the reason I know this is because I watched another film, and yes, I'm not a parrot. I'm not stealing somebody else and just repeating it. I use these people as sources and part of my research to get this information. Anyway, let me see. Oscar the Blue and conservative... what's his name? Oscar the Blue and conservative somebody. Anyway, they're guys who actually are on the border, and they've actually done research and stuff too and figured out what's going on. They know more of what's going on here than I do, but I've got these maps showing how these people are migrating to certain areas that actually allow them in. Now, Mexico's pretty corrupt, and its leaders, if they're given a certain amount of money, they'll let these people in, or they'll make it look like they're trying to keep them out when in actuality they're letting them in. They take money under the table from political groups, again sponsored by not just the PRIA and the Marina, but sponsored by the UN, George Soros, and other Antifa movement people from Berkeley and other colleges and other liberal messed up in the head people. Give them money because they want to feel compassionate. But again, as I've said over and over, the only reason they do this, they want to let these people in, which even though they're rich and some, it's not all people from Africa and other places, but there's people from India, Pakistan, and other areas coming to this area and joining up with these other migrants from Central America and even even South America, and they're all coming to the U.S. And all these groups, the UN and George Soros and college-educated liberal nut job idiots and liberal Antifa movement people and parties within Mexico like Marina and Priya are letting them in, and then they're giving these people money. These groups are sponsoring them, and they're getting into the U.S. and we have an overload of people in record numbers now. Over 1 million people every year are beginning to come in, and pretty soon that's going to add up. You can imagine, and you people, you sit back and you don't really care. You don't care what's going on, but when it starts affecting the economy, and if you had any common sense, you would know that the liberal agenda won't work, and that's why these people are being let in. And liberals lost the election in 2016, and so the only way they can hold on to power is to let these misfits of the countries, and I know it's not all their fault. There's some good ones in there, but you can't take care of everybody in the world. I mean, you got to take care of your country first, and that's all Trump's trying to say is you got to take care of our people first. We can't afford to take care of everybody else. And there's some people saying, well, these people aren't getting welfare and stuff. Well, you're freaking wrong, because these liberal idiots, they're so compassionate, they figure out ways to give them money and stuff. And now they're even wanting to let some of these people vote and everything. That's nuts. They're not even citizens. And this catch and release deal, all they have to do is come in up here, they get arrested, held for a little while, and then they have to do something with them because they got an overload of people. So they're driving them to different areas of the United States and letting them out. They put them in by plane loads and fly them to different areas and let them out. Well, Trump's getting smarter. He knows he can't really do nothing about it because he has to get legislation passed, and that takes a long time, and especially with the Democrats so dim-witted like they are. They don't want to do nothing about it because they want these people in here, because these people can help them stay in power, especially because places like California and others believe give them driver's license, and then they register them to vote illegally, by the way. They not supposed to be able to vote, but they don't like showing IDs, so they let them in there without showing IDs, and they give fake names and everything else, and they end up voting. And it gives the Democrats more votes. So that's how they want to stay in power. So that's why they want to let all these different immigration or these illegals in there. And so I'm getting a little bit winded here trying to say what's going on, but you can see what's going on. They're coming up. They're coming up through all different areas. They're migrating like crazy. 1 million a year. And it's not slowing down. So what we have to do is we have to get some kind of measures passed and policies in our government, and it's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a long time. In the meantime, we're being invaded. Yes, we're being invaded, because these people will get in our country. They will settle here and there, and they won't assimilate into our society or accept what we have. Instead, they keep their own agenda and their own attitude, and they steal, and they boom, and they just make a mess. They cause this area, especially this area, to become more poor. But Trump's had one good thing. They have these sanctuary cities, these big cities that want to be compassionate and take them in. But when it gets down to it, when Trump has started letting these people out in those big cities that are sanctuary cities, and they want no part of it. The sanctuary cities don't want any part of it. Yet they claim to be the protector of these people, but now they don't want them in, and it's nuts. And I'm glad Trump's doing that. Make if they're going to let them in, then make them shoulder the financial responsibility of taking care of these people. And because of that, there's even things going on that some of these areas, and especially in California and other areas that want to separate from the United States, I say if they want to, we'll put a wall up around California too and keep them out. That's my agenda. I don't think if they want to shoulder the responsibility of these people, then there. I just don't want these people to burden the rest of us, because eventually, and it might not be now, but eventually if something doesn't happen, if they don't change the immigration laws and policies in government, then we're going to go to pot. We're going to be paying such high taxes. That's what's happened to Canada and Great Britain. That's why Nigel Farage won his big election, and other big officials throughout Europe, such as in Italy and where else? Belgium, I believe, and even in Scandinavia, populist politicians are getting more power and recognition and more favor from the people. Even their governments are starting to change a little bit. But again, I use different sources. I use what I read. I use the Conservative Anthony and Oscar the Blue. That's the name. I couldn't think the guy's name a while ago, but Conservative Anthony. He's Oscar the Blues. He's on Facebook, and he puts a lot of videos on, and he's located in Tijuana here, and then I believe it's El Paso here in Texas. Conservative Anthony's located here, but they have their own network too. It's called the Border News Network, and they give me a lot of information, and I watch them and get things from them. But anyway, they pretty well have it covered, and so that's where I get some of this information. And as far as Venezuela, the Maduro, he's in power in Venezuela. We'll get off the subject a little bit to start something else. This is Venezuela here. And I've got this thing here. It says, where do countries stand on Venezuela? And in maroon kind of color here, it looks like Cuba, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Belarus, the EU, what was he? Belarus, looks like Russia, China, Iran, Syria, and Turkey. These countries all support Maduro, who's the illegitimate, I guess, presidente or whatever you want to call it. And as we know, these are the pretty much what we consider the bad countries, like Iran and China and Russia, Nicaragua, I guess Bolivia, though I don't know much about Bolivia. I know a little bit about Nicaragua. Cuba, we know it's communist, and so we consider it bad. But anyway, they support Maduro. And a lot of places are calling for... first, let's get in. There's another guy, let's see, his name's Guaidó, as an interim president. some countries recognize him. He's in the blue, so including Canada, United States, Brazil, looks like Argentina and Chile. What's it in these countries here? And then Europe, a lot of countries in Europe, so you could say the European Union and Great Britain or United Kingdom. Probably Iceland up here. Australia. Anyway, these countries all are in support interim president. This the Guaido as the interim president. And a lot of people are calling for new elections, and we don't know what's really going to go on down there. It's that we know Venezuela is headed or it has socialism now, and it's ruined that country. They take all the money from oil and use it on public. Use all that money from oil and industry to support the socialist agenda and policies, and it's causing the country to go broke. At one time it was a great country economically, and it was one of the biggest world producing countries in the world, and now they can't even keep most people can't keep their electricity or utilities on. They don't have enough money to cover everybody. They can't get enough food. They can't even get an aid in there because this Maduro guy won't let it in there. He doesn't want help from anybody. Of course, he wants help from Russia and China, and because he knows they'll help him stay in power. But I just feel like these areas, especially Russia, has actually sent people down there. And they say they're not interfering in the Western Hemisphere, but I think they are. And if it is, that's a violation of the Monroe Doctrine. Of course, we don't really know what they're doing, and I don't know what they're reporting, because although they have reported that they have seen some Russians there. I don't know if they're military people or not, but it sounds like it might be. And I wouldn't put it past Russia. Or it might just be Russia causing disruption to keep our minds on something else, give us more to think about so they can build up just like China's building up. Because China wants this area here, they want the seas here because they claim they have territory in this area. I guess that's the southeast region. Probably even in this area too. Anyway, let's get off that and let's move on a little bit. I talked about a lot of stuff there. Get off that map. See, where am I at here? There I am. Let me get back to me. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and a lot to talk about. I could talk about more, and I didn't do a lot of research on most of on this other stuff I'm going to talk about, but again, I could talk about the coming election it's in about 18 months in our own country for a new president, and there's plenty of time to get the old attitude and blood pumping around people, getting them built up. Democrats are really trying to I don't know what they're doing. They're so loony, they don't know what they're doing. They have 20 to 30, I don't know, by the time the election comes around, they'll have 20 to 30 they have 20-something people now, and they'll probably have close to 30 because a lot of different people wanting to run. And I say let them beat themselves up. And we've already seen that there's a lot of loony, crappy attitude out there. You've got Big Joe Biden running now. I call him big because he's got a big mouth. And he's also has slurred speech lately. Have you seen what I'm saying? So is Nancy Pelosi. What's wrong with these two guys? I know what's wrong. This, what is her name? Cortez lady? I saw on Facebook that she likes Tide Pods. And now I know what's happening. Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi have been eating those Tide Pods too, and it's affecting their mental capabilities. We see what's going on. And, well, these Biden's running. Let me see who else. This Beto O'Rourke. And this guy, he didn't like Tide Pods so much. He likes to eat dirt. And he likes to eat avocados. Only the avocados aren't real avocados. They're made up of S-H-I-T. He did it as a joke one time to his wife, and he said it was an avocado. Played a joke on his wife. That really happened, by the way. And this guy's going to run for president of the United States and make decisions for us. Do you really want people like this in there making decisions for us? And what's that other's? Lisa, is it Carlisa Harris? She likes pot. I mean, she smokes a lot of it. She even admitted to it and laughed about it. She sounded like a stoner, if you know what I'm saying. She talked like a stoner too. She laughed right there on radio, and I should have looked that up and play that on here. I won't do it this time because I don't want to take a lot of time doing this, but I'll look up some more stuff on her. But she admitted to smoking pot, and she's going to run for president, and we want somebody like that who can't even think straight. But to make decisions for us, really, it's on the world agenda. Hey, look, China's attacking. Let's blow up a few of them. We don't care if they retaliate. See, she don't even know how to put pressure on other countries to bargain for negotiations and stuff. She just can't think. And then you got, oh yeah, I don't want to leave out now I'm talking about the superstars of the Democrats. This is what they got to offer, which none of these guys offer anything of any value except nutso job ideas that won't work. And now you got big Bernie Sanders. He's running again. And I don't know, I honestly think Bernie Sanders is going to knock all these other Democrats down with his Democratic socialist ideas, because I think people will listen to him more. And he does have a funny accent, but at least he doesn't stutter through his words like some of at least the other two. I don't like any of them, get me wrong, but Bernie Sanders is the most favorite of them if I was left with a choice, which I don't want to be. I don't want that choice. No, thank you. I don't need that choice because I got good choices on the other side. But Bernie Sanders, to me, of all those, I would like him better than any of the others, and I don't like him. But I feel like he'll, in the primaries and stuff, that Bernie Sanders will win the Democratic primaries coming up not too long from now. And then, of course, and when Bernie Sanders goes against Trump, it'll be interesting. And this is my thoughts on what probably will happen. I could be wrong. I've been wrong. I've had to eat crow before, but I think Bernie Sanders is going to end up running against Bill Clinton. And I think Biden will give Sanders a little bit of a run, but people know what it is with Biden. Biden will knock his own self off. He'll put his word, he'll stutter through stuff, or make some kind of goofy comment that'll lead him down the wrong path, or he'll blow air in somebody's ear or hug somebody wrong or something. He'll knock himself out of the race. That's what I'm saying. Trump don't even have to worry about him too much, I don't think, because Biden will knock himself out of the race. I mean, he'll do something stupid or say something stupid, and oh man, he'll just knock himself out of the race. And then Trump is human. He makes mistakes, but he knows how to turn his mistakes into offensive strategies. He makes it look like that. Even if he makes a mistake, he makes it look like that. I don't know how to put it exactly. He connects with people. Is what I'm trying to say. He connects with ordinary human beings. All the people in the U.S. He's for the people. He connects with the people, and the people know and feel. The people feel like they're connected to him, like that he's a part of them, like he's one of them, and that's why they like him. And he knows that he supports them, and the things he does is going to go to help them. And the Democrats, you don't get that. And Trump's one of the people. That's why he's the president. That's why he won, because the people recognize that and they know that. And the people make mistakes too, and they know that, and so does Trump. And but the Democrats, the mistakes they make can't be corrected. Trump's mistakes can be corrected. They're only minor things that he can think through, and he has the people that can help him do that. And he has the political brainwave, in other words, whereas the Democrats, they don't have any brainwaves at all. They tested them, put them on a deal, and they did the IQ test, and the Democrats sunk way down here. That's why they call them Democrats. Anyway, who knows how it's going to turn out, but that's just my opinion, and I think Trump will win hands down. And I think it'll be Trump versus Sanders. All them other Democrats will kill themselves like Biden with his mouth and his behavior. Trump is just smarter. His IQ, he doesn't even have to be that smart to beat the Democrats, because he's a political genius, and he's not even really a politician. He's just smart. He knows how to use the media. He knows that the media is liberal and connects with the Democrats. So he turns the people against the media. And because of that, they rally around him. Plus, his policies, ideas, and agenda are just so much smarter than the liberal Democrat, compassionate dimwits who don't have any common sense. That's why populism is growing throughout the world, South America, Europe, and in other areas of the world as well. And that's why it'll flourish, and we will come back strong. We won't be weak again. If you want to be weak, join the Democrats. If you want to be strong, join Trump and the rest of the populists in the world. That's what happened. Even in Canada, this Trudeau, the idiot up there, they're beginning to lose out too. Populism is growing up there. So we'll see. They've got an election coming up too. I'm not sure of the exact date, but there's a lot of people speaking against them. I even have a source that I use up there too, named Peter Salemi, and he keeps up all that stuff up there, and I watch him from time to time to see what's going on, and not just what I read, but what I see from his program. In other words, I get primary and secondary sources. The primary source, in other words, the very person that said the words. So, and I like primary sources better than secondary, because secondary sources are just writings and stuff, and then they go by what somebody else has researched, and they're biased toward a certain way or whatever. Whereas if you get the source from the primary source, the very person that said whatever they said, then you get a better and a more of an idea of what's really going on. Instead of like the news is nowadays, fake news. They don't check, they don't fact check or anything. And that's why they're going down in the gutter. Like CNN, the communist, or the clown news network, or the crummy news network. They don't check their sources. They have to apologize all the time. If I was them, I'd apologize for being a news network, because they're not. Anyway, I think I've said about all I'm going to say tonight, and I covered a lot of different stuff, from political parties in the world to the great immigration which is going on, which I really think's going on because of upheavals in different countries and because of turmoil and other really bad things that are happening in the world. People wanting a better life, but we can't give everybody a better life. We got to live too. Come on, people, get some common freaking sense. Some of you people out there, I know anyway, don't look at your neighbor next door that may not have any common sense. Heck, if they want to be compassionate to them, let them people move into their house. Don't let them move into mine. Anyway, I'm going to get off from here, because that's about all I got to say tonight. And this is Fraley's World Insight Vlogs. And I'll see you next time. Maybe I'll get on here sooner instead of waiting so long next time.